All right, welcome back to Fleccas Talks, the podcast, episode 245. Today on the show, an intoxicated illegal drove a semi-truck into traffic, killing 5 people. We're going to go over the details there. Then, Big Mike launched a podcast with his brother, Big Mike, as well. We're going to go over the initial stats. Then after that, Trump's approval rating is at an all-time high, while the Democrats' approval rating is at an all-time low, so that's good. And last but not least, this Amazon delivery person is tired of delivering Amazon packages. We're going to show you what happened there. All this and more, it's Fleccas Talks, the podcast, episode 245, ranked the best news podcast of all time.
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool.
It's Fleccas Talks, the podcast, featuring Richard Bradford. All right, 1 for 1 on the intro, as always. Guys, our country just witnessed Donald Trump overcome political persecution, an assassination attempt, and the entire deep state in order to regain the presidency in a historic victory. There's one secret ingredient that allowed Trump to do all of this, and that is testosterone. What most people don't realize is testosterone makes men willing and eager to take on challenges, but sadly, too many of us have lost our fight, and that's exactly how the globalists want us. They want us weak, out of shape, and full of microplastics and estrogen with low T. That's why we've decided to partner with Chalk. Chalk offers a whole lineup of products formulated to increase your energy, focus, detoxify your body, and clinically studied boost your testosterone. Ingredients in the Chalk Male Vitality Stack have been clinically studied to boost free testosterone by 87% in just 21 days. Unlike the gimmicky vegetable pills or powder, you will feel the difference, and they have the clinical studies to back it up. And right now, you can get 25% off of your Chalk subscription for life. Just go to chalk.com, CHOQ.com, and use promo code Fleccas. And the best part, you can cancel easily at any time. Chalk is made in America, and their all-American customer service team is standing by and ready to assist you. Let's make male vitality great again. Get your Chalk today. CHOQ.com is the website, promo code Fleccas, and you could also call them at 50-CHALK-3000. Everything is linked in the description. Thank you to Chalk for sponsoring. Let's get into housekeeping. All right, thank you to Chalk for sponsoring.
Thank you, Chalk.
It's very important to be chalked up these days.
Yep.
Got to be strong. We're going to show you why in this episode, as we do every episode.
Yes.
Feels good to be back. Sorry we couldn't be here on Friday. We were traveling. We're going to go over our trip a little bit more in bonus land, but we can get right into it. It's a Tuesday show. That means business.
Okay.
Episode 245 as well. 245 is a great time of day.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know you were going with that. I thought you were going to say 45, Trump number, something like that.
And then 45 plus 2 is 47.
Okay, there you go.
Now we're cooking.
Yep.
But 245, you're usually on the bus on the way home, or work's starting to wind down.
Okay.
But it is Tuesday, so we're not at the end of the week yet. All right, let's get to our...
Fucking nothing. I wonder if we're going to lose it.
We're not going to lose it. We're very much on the rails today.
Okay.
We have our first story, Trump's approval rating, as we mentioned in the intro. Can you give that a read?
Yeah, NBC says 44% of Americans say the country is headed in the right direction under President Trump, which doesn't seem like a huge number, up from just 27% in November. And they say if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44% or higher, January 2004.
It's like 20-something years.
Yeah, crazy.
So Americans are the most optimistic on the direction of our country since 2004. That is very nice to hear.
44% kind of leads me to believe most Americans are generally disgruntled for the most part. But yeah, good numbers, right?
And it's going up. It's about where we're trending. And then also a lot of these polls are kind of fluffed up to push a certain narrative.
And then it shows you, we take polls when we can and when they're good, and sometimes we ignore them when they're bad. But it kind of shows you that the media's ability to fearmonger and go crazy on this second Trump administration is weaker than ever. They're not able to whip up the same support they were in 2016, 17.
Exactly. They're not operating in reality, but Democrat twinks are still being paid to lie to us. Here we have a little compilation of our favorite Democrat twink, Harry Sisson.
Major breaking news. We have some breaking news. We have some major breaking. We have some major news. We have some major news. We have some major breaking news. We have some major news. We have some major news. We have some major.
So
You get the point.
we get the point. He's a paid Democrat pussy. We all knew that already, but it actually gets worse. I found this picture of him with a Kamala Harris tattoo. Now, it is AI, obviously.
It's a meme. It's watermarked grand old memes right there.
And it is AI. It was, made by AI. But why would you ever get a Kamala Harris tattoo?
So true.
Isn't that, so embarrassing?
Even if someone made it up, it's still wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever do something like that. It's absolutely pathetic. All right, our next clip.
Wait, hold on. Harry Sisson, are we going to say anything about this? It's so inorganic that he has to stick to the same script every time. It's the same thing as Dash. When all you're doing is mongering up some sort of anti-Trump content, like us, we release a social media clip of our podcast and it's we're explaining something midway through a sentence. Him, it's all just the alarm bells are going.
Yeah.
So
and it makes it seem like he gets a script and he goes, yeah, whatever, I'll read it. I get $550 every time I do.
Stick to the formula. I'll get the check at the end of the month and, it'll pay for my poppers.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Right. Final page of housekeeping. We're going to get to the poppers.
Okay.
And our next clip is another dose of reality for Democrats. These comedians were doing an open mic type thing, like a panel. And they polled the audience to see who were Trump supporters and who were Kamala supporters, and they were surprised by the answer.
Anybody here voted for Kamala?
Wow. You're all Trump voters? No.
Neither.
No.
Neither.
Raise your hand if you're honest enough to say you voted for Trump. Look at that, man. We're in New York
I'm
City.
joking though, but yeah.
He literally has a MAGA scarf on. So.
And that was in New York City, and not one person in the room voted for Kamala, which is more proof that the entire Democrat operation is propped up by USAID and voter fraud.
Okay. I was going to say there might also be a psychological aspect there where you don't want to admit you are on the losing team to a certain extent. But yeah, I agree. I'm surprised everywhere. And is comedy becoming more right-wing?
Yes.
More right-wing coded? Everyone except for Bill Burr, who somehow is moving left when he started on the right?
USAID money as well.
Well, actually, I saw someone saying, what do they have on him? Because he made a true 180. And everybody knows that he's got a liberal wife who's kind of a miserable person. But we're not going to get too into Bill Burr, maybe in bonus land. But sad to see. I used to listen to that guy.
But the comedians are definitely going right. Tim Dillon just had Steve Bannon on. Theo Vaughn had Candace Owens on. Andrew Schultz has been doing a great job, talking common sense, which is now considered a Republican value. So it's really good to see because obviously comedians need to speak the truth to actually do comedy, and then the truth only falls on one side these days.
And there was a while where Netflix was giving a big chunk of money to that, lesbian woman Australian.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's nice to see it kind of come around.
It is coming around. And our next clip is it congressperson?
Yeah, this is Congressman Tim McBride, and he's going by a woman's name now, but I seem to have forgot it.
And he's wearing some women's clothes. But listen to what he said about Republicans and what we're up to.
I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre.
Weird and bizarre, says the literal trans person who I'm constantly thinking about going to the bathroom. I'm always wondering what they're doing.
So you
Yeah,
are.
they got me there. What are you doing in the bathroom?
Well, there's this thing where Republicans fought back in a culture war. We just said, here's a line in the sand after so much taking of ground. And then for this guy in women's clothing and a hair wearing a women's suit as their skin, they somehow think you're not involved in the culture war? Brother, you're a general in the culture war.
You're top guy.
Yeah, you're brigadier general, first commander, the first trans congressperson. You're I'm above the culture war. We need to get back to governing. Dude, What are you talking
Admiral Levine is also in the culture war as an admiral.
And that's a true admiral. That's 1 for 1. This is Brigadier General.
That's double admiral.
But yeah, acting like you're somehow above the culture war is crazy to me. What do you guys do? Like you punch someone and you go, whoa, everybody, what are you, bar fighting? Crazy.
Yeah, it's very ironic. And a good way to expose the Harry Sisson types, if you ever get them like one-on-one or like in an interview, is just say, is it normal to be trans? And I think they have to say yes, even though 85% of the country probably thinks no.
Yeah, and it just happened in a wave over the last 15 years and basically didn't exist for a long time.
Exactly. All right. Now that Democrats are flailing and losing public support, they're resorting to some pretty ugly and dangerous tactics. They've been swatting a lot of right-wing commentators and podcasters and Twitter people. We have a clip here. This is what it looks like. This is from just a couple days ago. Someone got swatted at 1 a.m.
Yeah, and there's like a long list of multiple personalities who've been swatted. I think some InfoWars guys, some independent podcasters, stuff like that.
So basically what they do is they call the cops and they say, oh, you know, this guy at this house, he's shooting everybody. There's a mass murder. You got to get there quick. Yeah. And then cops show up with guns. And imagine it's 1 a.m. and you hear banging on the door, or you look outside and you see people with rifles and you don't know it's cops. They kind of are trying to get you in a situation where you have your own gun, the cops bust in, they see you with the gun, and then they get you killed, or kill your barking dog.
Yeah, which Jerry is at risk. And imagine, I guess the ultimate dream for a swatter is they send a trigger-happy woman cop to the door, and then she doesn't know how to handle the situation, and it's dark, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
And you get shot, and you go, please stop shooting me.
Yeah.
But I actually have a solution. At night before I go to bed, I put this sign at my front door, and it says, do not swat me, please. I think that, if you're a cop and you think that you're responding to a mass shooting and you see a sign that says, do not swat me, that would kind of ease the tensions and de-escalate before I get to the door in my underwear.
I think so as well. So
yeah, me too.
Smart move.
The Democrats, now that they're flailing, are also destroying Teslas and Cybertrucks and Tesla charging stations. That's been going on for the last few days. We have a New York Post headline.
Well, this was the one that we covered. This was the improvised explosive device woman charged with IEDs.
Not very ladylike doing IEDs.
There was an update, and it said, trans Tesla vandal who allegedly threw Molotov cocktails at cars lives with mom and calls herself baby. Herself.
And then it says sources say, and the source you told me was the dad.
You go to the body of the article, and like the dad was like, yeah, I'll talk to the New York Post. He's got some problems. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, which is actually my favorite.
Him and his mom are cooking something up. She calls him baby.
That's the best, when someone breaks reality. Like New York Post, I guess they're still playing by the rules where you call a trans person her. I'm calling Timmy McBride Timmy.
Yeah.
We don't play by those rules, obviously. But every once in a while, there's a person who just breaks character, and he's like, I'm too old for this. He's got some mental issues. He calls himself baby.
Yeah.
That's my quote. Yes, you could put it on the record. So,
all right, next we have a guy who got arrested for destroying a Cybertruck or a Tesla. Was it keying a Tesla?
He was keying it, and then the police responded quickly and got him.
And if you zoom in, I know we don't do doppels anymore, but RRB type for sure.
Man bun Richard Rat Boy. Sad, man.
Got him.
Sad.
He could have had a completely different destiny.
I know. He could be one of two people on a podcast, right wing, but I don't know. I see this a lot, actually. My types, they go astray. I don't know what it
goes
about.
From Vouch all the way to you.
I know.
Is there anyone like more muscular or more jacked, like a Viking strongman of you or anything?
I'm sure, but unfortunately, I don't get compared to them as much.
Yeah, that's all right. You're towards the good side of the spectrum, though. You're almost at the end of the best.
Thank you.
All right,
that's very rare for you to be generous in a doppelganger instead of insulting me.
Well, I'm going to get you back in a few minutes in the first story of Final Page of Housekeeping.
Okay.
All right, Jordan Peterson was echoing some weird stuff. There's basically this push online to attribute people saying Christ is king to people being anti-Semitic. And there was like a study done. Cernovich had a good summation of it and a good call out against Jordan Peterson.
He said, hi, Jordan Peterson. Are you aware that the group that funded your research, reading mean posts on X, specializes in identifying domestic terrorism, and that put your name on a report designed to connect Christ is king to domestic terrorism? Are you a fool or a demon?
So basically they're saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic. And here's some advice for the influencer class that echoes this. Policing people for saying Christ is king because some people who are anonymous on Twitter say Christ is king and then Hail Hitler or something. it's not really a winning strategy. You know, it's anti-free speech as well. But also, you know, the people who killed Jesus don't need to really tell the other people what Christ is King means, especially so close to Easter.
That's true.
That's true. So it's not a good look, and it's not America first. So just keep that in mind, everybody. Don't get left behind with the Ben Shapiro Daily Wire types.
Yeah, that's also something that happens a lot where you don't need to speak on every single thing. You could just ignore it and go, yeah, all right, maybe a bad actor. You don't need to formally condemn anybody or do anything like that. So,
especially Christ is King.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that one in particular.
Christ is King, so I wouldn't really try to get into the semantics of it.
Exactly.
All right, next we're in our DOGE section. We have some good news. Johns Hopkins University has fired over 2,000 employees after losing $800 million in USAID funding. 2,000 employees.
We were propping them up a lot.
That's like the size of a college.
Yeah.
2,000 employees.
Crazy.
So good to see that. Lots of jobs are gone. We have I don't even know what the jobs were.
I know.
But if you could just cut 2,000 people, you weren't doing anything. Johns Hopkins, I believe, is in the D.C. area. So it was probably just some no-show job. Get your friend on the board, get your friend doing a study, and you just give everyone money from the taxpayers. And then you get nice stuff. You live in a nice house, and it's all a scam supported by us.
Another government-funded teat to suckle on for the DC elite.
Sucking teats.
Yeah.
And then we have EPA rollback as well. Can you give that clip a play?
I think the biggest risk is that we have a small window to deal with climate change, really. I mean, it's getting smaller and smaller, less than 10 years to sort of level out and reduce our emissions. And we had and have currently a lot of rules that deal with that. To throw those all out would undo a lot of progress that's been made to try to reach these new standards for our country and for the world. And we will lose our opportunity to really get ahead of this problem or even stay current with the problem.
So they're just using climate change, as they've been doing for the last, 40 years, to just steal all the money and take all the power. Someone had a tweet that actually summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, this computer model that I made says the world is going to end if you don't give me trillions of dollars and unlimited political power.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the EPA here, who has like some pretty unnecessary things, like when you build, you have to get a survey done to see how it impacts the western newt. Or,
the bugs. You can't build because of bugs.
Stupid shit like that, and then they conflate, targeted reductions in that to we're giving up on climate change, as if it's not China and India and dumping things into river and coal power that's completely the main driver of all emissions.
Exactly. And our next clip is about China. Basically, we were paying to monitor China's air, and now we're not doing that anymore.
This is what air looks like at 225, more than 20 times beyond the WHO's recommended limit. The data the U.S. shared became a go-to for people who didn't always buy into the Chinese numbers. The program then expanded to more than 80 embassies and consulates around the world until now. Air monitoring is being axed because of budget constraints, presumably the DOGE kind, what a State Department spokesperson called the current budget climate and difficult cuts. The American monitoring really irked Chinese officials, but it kicked off this whole other level of awareness about breathing dirty air and public health.
No, we need to pay our tax dollars to monitor China's air.
80 embassies, 80 different countries' air.
80 different countries' air. How about we can save the millions of dollars? It's not good.
Yeah, it's dirty.
It's bad. You see the pictures and the videos of them blowing it out? It's bad. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy. We just leave it at that. You don't really need to send all the money there still.
Well, I like it that, and this is what I was talking about with the media's effectiveness and Trump's approval ratings and stuff. They try to do a sad puff piece about how we need to keep funding the air studies in 80 different countries because some of those countries lie to their own people. And the random American guy who travels there needs to be able to look at this website. Were they all doing that?
Yeah.
What's it really for, right?
What's it really for? And then there's a tweet that kind of gives you a hint and shows you how inefficient it was.
Taxpayers funding air monitors in 80 countries while China bans data exposing their pollution lies. Pure globalist waste. DOGE's cuts end this madness. Fund American priorities, not Beijing's propaganda. Let China clean its own air.
Let them clean their own air.
Yeah.
Let them do whatever they want. All right, next we have Joe Biden USAID exposure. Basically, this guy on Joe Rogan was saying, remember Joe Biden had that guy fired.
Prosecutor,
The prosecutor in Ukraine fired in order to protect Hunter Biden. Listen to where the money came from.
You remember when Joe Biden was at the Council on Foreign Relations and bragged that he got the top prosecutor in Ukraine fired by the Ukrainian government because he explicitly conditioned the firing of the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma. He expressly conditioned their receipt of $1 billion in U.S. financial assistance on the firing of Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor. And he said, son of a b. He was.
It's so crazy watching him brag about that publicly. It just shows you what an idiot he is.
You know what that $1 billion in financial assistance was? It was a USAID grant.
USAID grant.
Classic.
So they just use it as a slush fund. They bribe people, do whatever they need to do, and we caught them.
Yeah, and then just for like petty political favors, not even for good stuff, you know? Not even for natural resources or things that benefit Americans, just to like be a swinging dick.
To get Hunter Biden off.
Exactly.
So we caught you.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on now to our migrant section. We have some pretty important stories here. First is about the population growth recently, where it all came from.
Look at this headline. I couldn't believe it. I texted around. I was like, this can't be real. This happened in the middle of the Biden administration. This is NBC News this morning. Immigration accounted for all, look at that, all U.S. population growth in 2022 to 23, the first time since 1850.
All. That's all. Just when you guys need to know that.
And then these people crowd you, and then you go, you're trying to do the right thing, and then they're also causing inflation by competing for the same resources, and you're like, maybe I should delay that kid just another year. I don't know if I'm financially feasible. And they come in and pop out 3 kids and squeeze you even more.
And it gets uglier and uglier, and then the ability to have a kid becomes less and less as they keep increasing. And then what? They just squeeze us out, and now all of the population growth.
So we don't, we don't have to just stop it. We have to reverse some of this. And I think that's part of our next story here.
That is part of our next story. Really quick, gotaways, it was in the clip later, but gotaways are at 77 a day, down from 1,800 a day during Joe Biden.
Crazy.
All right, next we have some criminals being deported.
This is a hype video. I don't know if we're even going to play the audio, but these are the most violent Tren de Aragua members being secretly flown out via plane to El Salvador.
Yep. And we played it at 2x speed just to keep it going. But yeah, here they are getting dragged off the plane. They're getting bent over. Really disrespected.
They're getting manhandled.
They're getting manhandled, and, you know, I feel bad in some ways because it's a huge downgrade from the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan.
So I guess that's the question. Like, you picture some of these guys, face tattoos, doing crimes. Where should they be? Because the Biden admin said, probably the Roosevelt Hotel, Manhattan, greatest city on earth.
Yeah, right in the middle.
And then Trump let's give him to that Bukele guy in South America and see what he can do with them. Head down, shave their head, do it all.
Yeah, that's what I like.
So obviously, podcast watchers of this show, it's not the Roosevelt Hotel.
Not anymore.
So that's progress, and that's why the approval rating's so high. But apparently there's a story that goes with this. Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller secretly orchestrated the Venezuelan gang members' flights to El Salvador to get the criminals out of the country before an activist judge could take action. And this activist federal judge did take action, but ultimately it was too late.
Because the flight was over international water.
Stephen Miller kept the circle tight. And this is also Trump 2.0. Stephen Miller keeping the circle tight, doing things because you know you're thinking 2 steps ahead. You know a federal judge in some random state in America is going to say, hey, wait, no, we need those Venezuelan gang members. Don't. And then, too late. We're already over international waters. So the game is the game. We're learning. Stephen Miller, thank you.
And honestly, fuck the judges.
There's 2 schools of thought.
We're the good guys. They're the bad guys.
It's pretty simple. It's good versus evil. But yeah, there is the school of thought. Like, we shouldn't get in the habit of doing this because Democrats will do it 2 times over. And it's like, who crossed the Rubicon first? We're in this battle of back and forth. And it's very funny to see Democrats become the party of law and order all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And the law and order party that they're becoming is all about due process for violent, illegal criminals.
Exactly. Right. Not even for Americans.
Yep.
All right, our next story is the saddest story of the whole episode. An illegal truck driver who was intoxicated on depressive drugs crashed a semi-truck into traffic that was stopped, and he killed 5 people, including 2 children. Here he is getting confronted.
It's you, bro? The fuck, man? What? What happened?
When I'm coming and somebody is left you and I put here. So.
But the traffic was there, bro. Like, there's no way it should have been. I'm a trucker myself, bro.
Yeah.
You're not putting that. You were going too fast. You know, there's 2 people dead over there, and possibly 2 more, possibly 4. They're dead. They're dead. Yes, dead.
And that's him wearing flip-flops, I guess, while driving the truck.
Which, is that normal? Can you do the bare minimum and have, like, good footwear? Maybe speak English? He's barely grunting to this guy, communicating, figuring out how many people he killed.
Wearing slides. Yeah. And his name is Solomon Weldekial Arroyo, a 37-year-old Texas man is how they worded it.
Yeah, this 37-year-old Horn of Africa somehow got to America. Now he's in Texas, man.
Yeah.
Ethiopian, Eritrean, Somalian type. Look at his face.
Nothing good. There's his mugshot. Mm-hmm. And I actually went online and I found some people in the comments. That's where you get a lot of good insight. A lot of truck drivers in the comments. We're going to read a few of their posts. Can you give the first few a read?
Yeah, I just drove a 3,000-mile round trip over the last month. I saw no less than 12 semis crashed in those 44 hours of driving. In my almost 45 years of driving, I don't believe I've seen that many semi crashes.
And that's very true. And then when I first learned how to drive, my dad used to tell me on the highways, don't be scared of the trucks because the truck drivers are the best drivers on the road, which is like an Americana thing. American truck drivers, they know what they're doing. They know their points.
I don't think that's true anymore with Solomon Wakalande, the Somalian guys driving truck in Texas.
We lost another piece of Americana. Keep going with the tweets?
Yeah, CDL driver here. The government has been importing thousands and thousands of low-skilled workers and pushing them through CDL schools. These people can't comprehend English and can barely understand the highway infrastructure.
Yep.
Another person says, I share my office space with our local transport logistics office. We have outside carriers on our lot daily. All our inbound loads are brought by outside carriers. Very few, if any, pros. Mostly H-1Bs or flat-out illegals in flip-flops. So it seems the flip-flops are a known quantity. They tie up our docks for hours because they have no backing skills at all. Often end up having the one old white guy on the lot guide them into the dock. They have to cut through our parking lot to access the entrance gate. They're bound to crush a person someday.
Yep. And then our last one.
This guy says, I'm a union carpenter in Illinois. Recently was on a huge solar farm job. Whole crews of Haitians working union job sites at union wages. They don't speak English, don't do anything all day, and can't be fired for some reason. I asked my union what was going on and got no response.
So this seems to be the trend all over. I'm sure you guys have noticed too when you're driving on the road, kind of give a look and see who's driving the trucks. But apparently
more Mohammeds than Jameses these days.
More Mohammeds than Jameses for sure. And apparently they are trying to crack down a little bit. So they're doing, at the way station stops, they're doing English tests. Can you give that tweet a read?
Yeah, English checks have begun. Truck driver in Arkansas at a way station. They were stopping all trucks. Everyone is handed a piece of paper. They have to read it out loud, and they must also write what they're told to write. So just a little spot check for English proficiency. Quote, I was actually witnessing people in handcuffs that had been pulled in. I was like, what's going on? He goes, we've come across now that if you cannot read or write in English, that it's a $5,000 fine. And if you have a company in Arkansas that employs people that can't read or write in English, it's a $10,000 fine paid on the spot.
Good.
If you cannot pay it, you're automatically arrested and lose your license. And so I got a feeling this Somali type had no ability to read or write English.
And he was on depressive drugs.
Well, that's obviously the worst part, but there's it's like a 3-leg parlay. He shouldn't even be here. He can't read or write, and he's on drugs. And so that's where the 5 people get killed, right?
Yep. And then this next part is a little bit of reading, but this explains how these trucking companies employ them via third party so they don't get in trouble themselves. We're not going to read it all, but just the highlights.
All right. Third-party carriers run cover for the megacorps by importing cheap, questionable labor and bribing local governments to lower the standards on CDL requirements, parentheses, campaign contributions. This keeps freight rates artificially low for megacorps and continues to destroy small business, which they say is the real goal. The megacorps can't hire these idiot guys directly because if they do, well, imagine the lawsuit on this wreck in particular, the one we were talking about. If this were an actual Amazon truck with an Amazon employee, the lawsuit would be in the hundreds of millions. The third-party companies have the minimum $2 million total insurance policy, and they fold the company when these wrecks inevitably happen. They do that all the time now.
There you go.
So there's something bad happening, and there's kind of this energy around America in general, like we need these workers, we need these jobs, or people need these jobs, and they got to come and help us. And all the you guys buy stuff from big stores, right? You get the stuff from Amazon, right? And then, but there's a competing interest of, yeah, we need people who can meet the bare minimum fucking standard to take these jobs. And so there's these competing interests, and obviously immigration makes it so much more messy that they're kind of pushing people in. And then imagine taking the test. How, this isn't the SAT to get into Harvard where you're spaced out. I imagine you can probably squeak by with a couple corners being cut on
as long as you're close.
The CDL test, I'm sure there's a written portion where, you're looking over your friend's shoulder or something. I don't know. But obviously this type of guy would never pass and would never be hired for a real company. And so you get folded into some third-party thing. And I guess this just goes on to our be wary of who's on the roads. We've talked about car drivers. You're in Haitians in Springfield and
people doing Galaxy gas.
Galaxy gas, illegal immigrants without insurance, not to mention just the boomers, the old people who are, haven't gotten a glasses prescription check in a long time driving at night. But now it's trucks, and we thought those were safe. So
we thought that was the safe haven. Yeah. And to zoom out a little bit, I think another reason for AI to replace truck drivers would be what we're seeing here. You basically ruin the workforce with illegals and DEI, and then you offer the solution. Well, let's just use AI trucks and universal basic income.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the next step. But we're going to get to that more later in the show. All right, we are now at our final page of housekeeping. Use this opportunity to help us tickle the post, juice the algo, leave a like, comment again, notifications on, P.O. Box full, all that stuff. All right, our first clip, we actually have a video of Richard in Mexico.
There
he is scuba diving. There's Richard scuba diving.
There he is. That's my exact
Is that
body.
air coming out of your butt?
I think it's just an AI of you.
That's
but
you.
They said you. They said Fleccas Talks, the
Richard
podcast.
scuba diving in Mexico.
There
you
you
got a lot of cool fish. Jokes aside, here's us actually in Mexico at the wedding.
There you go.
We look very nice.
Yeah.
It was a very nice trip. We're going to talk more about it in bonus land. We got some cool stories and decent insights into what's going on in Mexico.
A little sunburn, but if it doesn't peel, it turns to tan.
Yeah, my lips split twice. But I think it looks kind of cool because it's symmetrical.
Okay.
All right, next, Michelle Obama. Mike Obama and her brother Mike as well. They launched a podcast, and here's them promoting it.
Yeah. We don't even need to play the audio.
We don't need to play the audio. We just need to acknowledge that they look exactly the same.
Crazy similar.
Very crazy. Welcome to the podcast Trenches, Michelle. So when she released the show, she got 14,000 views in the first 12 hours, which is obviously trash. We outperformed that by a lot.
Yeah, lower than us.
And then the right-wing media started reporting on the bad numbers, and everyone kind of rushed to the video to go find it. So the views ended up going up.
Yeah.
But the comments are, I would say, like 80% negative, maybe 90% negative. And I would say 90% of the views are just right-wingers going to see what the new podcast is all about.
Yeah.
So it's absolute trenches for her.
It's a weird thing, too, where you start a podcast now talking with your brother. You missed the moment by 10 years to cash in. You know what I mean? Like this would have, people would have eaten this slop up in 2012, right? But it's just so weird. And then why? Why get involved? And it would be one thing. Imagine if Michelle Obama had a podcast where she was naming this and kind of showing you inside baseball. Nobody cares what you and your gay brother think about like any random
Imagine
topic.
like behind the scenes at the White House or like something crazy that happened that we only saw a part of.
Here's what really happens. And then here's this big bombshell secret. And then you could make headlines, but they're just yapping.
They're just yapping. And one of the parts was like, oh, I taught you how to dance.
So welcome to the trenches. It's a fight. And you need to be buying views because otherwise you're going to get smoked. And I have a feeling comments are going to be off pretty soon.
Yep, good point. All right, next we have a story here about people changing their eye color. This is pretty interesting. Can you give that a read?
Did you know you can change your dark eyes to bright blue eyes with a simple surgery? people are undergoing this surgery at an alarming rate, is what it says.
So that's, I think, more evidence of white supremacy. Why is no one going from blue to brown?
Wow, good point.
You know? So, and I could barely talk. Like, I'm Italian, so I wasn't even considered white until like 30 years ago.
Yeah, you're brown-eyed, swarthy. You're swarthy.
But it happens a lot. So that example they showed was like a Middle Eastern guy, but it happens a lot in the black community as well. We have Beyonce in the 2000s versus Beyonce now.
Now she's a Cowboy Carter, right?
Yeah, now she's a country singer.
I've seen the same thing with Mindy Kaling.
Yeah.
She got a lot later. And you know who else?
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Vivek got a little lighter, and I wonder what he's up to.
What do? They just get a lotion and they just put it on?
A light bleaching? I don't exactly know. This Beyonce one is crazy.
Yeah, that Beyonce one, I mean...
And then over 20 years, you can kind of do a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what's possible there. And then everyone talks about white supremacy, but then you change yourself to look white. It's a little ironic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing crazy.
Must be deeply ingrained in everyone's bones, and everyone's a white supremacist. Blacks, Indians.
I don't think about it at all. I just do me. All right, next we have a story that's going to hit home for a lot of us, especially me. The headline says, FDA cracks down on popular gay party drug poppers.
And that is RFK's FDA. And, you know, we were begging, saying, hey, RFK, take away their EBT candy and soda. Please take away their EBT candy and soda. I had no idea he was even thinking about going for poppers.
Yeah, he might be a confirmed bonus lander. Bonus landers know how much we like poppers, and that's probably why Boss in Henchman Maxine 2 was getting so many poppers, because he was getting ahead of the band.
Yeah, the Food and Drug Administration is cracking down on poppers, recreational party drug, popular with the LGBT community. And they've operated in a legal gray area for decades, masquerading as cleaning solvents and nail polish remover. That's kind of the thing. It's kind of the same thing as Whippets, which we've also covered, Galaxy Gas. They say, oh, yeah, it's to do whipped cream for a cake. And then people are just sucking them.
It's all 16-year-old black kids.
Actually, white kids do it too. So
white kids do it too.
Actually, we had a show watcher DM'd me and said that they used to work at a video store and they used poppers as like a VCR cleaner. And all these gay guys would come in and get the VCR cleaner 10 years after anyone had a VCR. So...
all the gay guys have vintage ways of watching movies.
Yeah, and then a bunch of different producers have gone silent and scrubbed their internet presence. One guy commented to BuzzFeed, he said, as far as I'm concerned, I sell nail polish remover. And then he hung up or whatever. And are we going to get into this? Because ever since we mentioned poppers so much, we just kind of loosely knew they were a gay drug.
I didn't even know what it was.
And we didn't really know what it was for. We're not going to get into that, right? It's a little too disgusting for the audience.
It makes you loosen up.
It loosens the guys up. The gay guys need to get loose.
So you don't have to...
Okay, chill out.
That's
why we didn't want to get into it.
That's why we didn't get into it.
And then last thing, just because we're learning more about these things kind of as they happen, instead of just using them as a punchline in a Henchman Maxine special. A study published this month in Clinical Toxicology investigated an area in New York City which poison control centers saw an uptick in poppers poisoning. So you can get, I didn't even know poppers poisoning was a thing. So that's like top 1% gay guy stuff is, oh, I got poppers poisoning. I'm out this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, they probably have a Narcan type thing to reverse it maybe.
I don't know. We'll learn about that later, I guess. But crazy story. RFK, please, we still haven't forgot about their candy and soda.
But thank you for cracking down on poppers.
Thank you for the poppers crackdown.
Show watcher confirmed. All right, our last few clips. As you guys know, I am the head of the Best Singers Club, and I'm always looking for new clients, and Oliver Tro's trying to extort me. So in the meantime, I'm trying to find new talent. I just found this guy, and we are in talks. Person with a very entertaining talent.
Yeah, that's good. He's multitasking. He's adding layers to this.
You like him better than Cho?
Are you going to tell a story? Oliver Cho, he's now giving you like deadlines and saying he's opening bids up on his videos. Did you?
Yeah, he sent me a video and he's like, I'm going to make the sponsor whoever bids the most.
So he's trying to get Fleccas in a bidding war, and he probably sends that DM to you and like maybe one other person.
Who else do you send it to?
To create a false sense of scarcity to sponsor his horrible singing.
I left him on red because I've been finding new guys like our next guy.
Yep, here, this guy. Shaolin shooter.
Yeah. All right.
That's good.
He can join the team. He's not really a singer, but it falls under the same umbrella.
Okay, yeah.
There's something there.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I'm nothing else to say, brother.
At least he's fair, because if he was saying, no, these guys are nothing too, like Oliver, then you would be crazy.
Well, and then when it comes time, when you come up to me and you go, I finally got a deal done, and you're Venmoing someone $300 to shout you out in a clip that'll get no reach.
3,000.
That's where I go, all right, are you sure? Is your 401k, where's that at?
3,000 Mexican or Chinese dollars or whatever. All right, our final clip of housekeeping, horse wrestling?
I don't think so. This is a bucking bronco, right? Oh.
Did you know anyone was doing this?
Yeah, this is how you like break horses and stuff, right? And don't they call that a bucking bronco?
But you choke him and flip him back on yourself like that?
No, the horse freaked out.
So he wasn't trying to do that?
No, of course not. He was trying to stay on the horse as long as possible.
I thought he was trying to do that. Maybe I misunderstood.
And that's how you like break a horse and stuff. Like a wild horse, they freak out and they don't want you on their back at first. And then eventually they just kind of go, all right.
You break him.
You ride me, and then it's called breaking a horse. I believe. I don't know. I'm not a ranch hand. I may be seeing an episode of Yellowstone or something.
Let us know in the comments if this is what they were trying to do.
That was not.
All right. That is the end of housekeeping. Moving on to Cringe of the Week. Before we do, we have a very special message from Undertac. Guys, when it comes to gear that can handle anything, there's no better choice than Undertac. Designed for and tested by an elite forces team in Africa's harshest conditions, Undertac is made to perform when it matters most. Whether you're navigating through tough terrain or just tackling your day, their underwear, socks, and shirts keep you dry and comfortable and mission ready. Made from premium materials like Modal, which is 50% more moisture wicking than cotton, Undertac offers tactical performance that goes beyond the basics. From the ultra-comfortable boxer briefs to the American-made battle weave merino socks, you'll feel the difference. And don't forget their hoodies and EDC t-shirts, which are rugged enough for anything, but also comfortable enough for everyday activities. Go to undertac.com, that's undertac.com today, and use code Fleccas20 for 20% off site-wide. So whether you're gearing up for an adventure or just need some stuff for everyday life, Undertac has your back. And the best part, a portion of all profits goes to veteran groups fighting human trafficking. It's a full 360 win. Undertac.com is the website. Fleccas20 is the code for 20% off. Thank you to Undertac for sponsoring. Now let's get into Cringe. All right, thank you, Undertac.
Thank you, Undertac.
They really do make such comfortable clothes. I have so many underwear, shirts, socks. It's my favorite.
All right.
Hoodies, too. All right, we have a great Cringe this week. It's not as trans heavy as last week, but we'll make up for that on Friday. First, we have...
I think that's good. We got to vary it up, you know?
Yeah, got to vary it up, it's called. First, we have an Amazon worker who's complaining about working for Amazon.
I've been waiting on this day to tell you how much I hate this fucking house. The waters, all the shit that you order, all of the shit. I hate it. I hate this house. I hate that you order shit. You are the fucking laziest fucking house in this whole goddamn neighborhood. You're inconsiderate. You're full of shit. I fucking hate everything about y'all.
Okay. So she wants them to stop ordering. So what? She doesn't have to do deliveries and can just drive the truck around all day, I guess.
Yeah. They still keep her on payroll if no deliveries have to be made. She can just listen to R&B in her car and be a mad, fat, black lesbian woman. That's what they do, I guess.
That's what they're hoping for. And in this situation, she's victimizing herself while calling the people who ordered the stuff lazy. And meanwhile, the people who order the stuff probably have jobs, or maybe they're old and they can't carry stuff well, or they don't have time to go to the store. I mean, they have a nice house to afford.
Yeah. Or a 90-pound woman who can't carry a 50-pound bag of dog food or something.
Yeah. So, they have the peasant class deliver them their shit. I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one thing you complain, but to boil over and reach a boiling point and quit and then go back to the house and start making fun of you, I don't get it, man. It's a certain mad type of person. You got the dolly. You got the tools. This is your job.
You have something better to do?
Yeah. You should be complaining to Amazon or whoever you're delivering for, because I don't know who's in charge of this, right?
Yeah.
They let me order the dresser online. Yeah. So you have to deliver it, right?
I ordered the dresser online, but you have to go pick it up from IKEA. I'm not ordering online anymore, am I?
Yeah.
I feel stupid. It's like when they deliver your Uber Eats and you live in an apartment and you have to walk downstairs. Well, if I wanted to go walk to get food, I wouldn't have ordered Uber Eats.
Yeah.
It's something I've struggled with in the past.
No, you don't say.
Jokes aside, that person obviously should be fired, and it's another...
I think it was probably their last day, and that's why they're coming in and talking
Smart.
shit, right?
So that's good. And it's also another reason for...
On to bigger and better things. She's going to go be a mad secretary somewhere.
Yeah. And another reason for AI to replace her.
Yeah, it's getting dark.
AI, people are saying AI is coming for the trucking industry and also like deliveries and stuff. Well, when you have this mad black lesbian doing the deliveries, people would probably say, yeah, an AI robot dropping it off isn't so bad.
Yeah.
All right, next we have another person who's mad at work. This woman, I think, is going on Starbucks strike.
At this time, the workers at this Starbucks will be walking out and going on strike. Starbucks has not acted in accordance with the path forward that they agreed to last year, and we deserve a fair contract. We ask now that you exit the lobby alongside the baristas. Thank you.
United will never be defeated. The workers united.
So that chant, the chant at the end, I never understood it when I was doing my Man on the Street protest coverage. They say the workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be divided.
Is that what it should be?
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Will never be defeated. Doesn't even rhyme.
Yeah.
So I've always had a problem with that. Also, another tip, if you're the Starbucks worker, don't go on strike if a teenager can replace you at your job.
I guess that's true. I go back and forth with this, but unions in general for skilled labor and, like airlines and stuff, there's a lot of unions in America that are pretty good.
Yeah, if you're driving a forklift or you're digging around in the sewer, I get it.
I got a feeling, though, that Starbucks employees just like the idea of a union more than the average employee anywhere else, and they kind of join up and try to do the strikes because that's the type of people they are.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Starbucks is like, well, we hire this type of person, the blue hair, they, them, barista types. Oh, and they tried to unionize?
They're not grateful.
Get tucked in. Yeah, that's the bed you made, right? So I don't know.
Exactly. If your job is to write a name on a cup and then hand it to someone who pours coffee in it, you don't have much leverage. And they were getting $17.50 an hour with benefits.
Yeah, I think there were Starbucks is like a notoriously pretty good employer.
Yeah.
So...
which
leads me to believe that they were going to unionize and do this no matter what.
Exactly. And it gives you another reason to have AI replace them. You know what I mean?
So are you pro-AI or anti-AI? Because some of these workers suck so far. I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should.
I'm anti-AI replacing the workforce, but then when you ruin the workforce first, it's going to not matter what I think.
That's actually a theme, too. Like right-wingers, Democrats have kind of tried to become the party of unions, where the rank and file are a lot of right-wing kind of guys, but then the leadership of those unions votes for Democrats and endorses Democrats, aside from Trump or the unique or rare case where a Republican like Trump, he's not exactly a typical Republican. But I'm also way more open to supporting unions and, collectivizing the employees when we don't have unfettered illegal immigration, right?
Very true.
And it's actually super easy. So these same people who are like, well, our wages haven't gone up and this hasn't happened and no one is illegal. What?
What was that last part?
We're on stolen land too? So I don't know. Ideologically, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And this girl wanted to give a speech.
Yeah, she wanted to go on TikTok.
She wanted to stand up and get applauded.
Yeah. No, Starbucks is closed. I guess I'll just go to the Starbucks 2.5 blocks away.
Yeah, Google says it's 1.2 miles. I guess that'll change my morning routine slightly. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, next we have a clip from another complainer. Joy Reid is explaining why America is so racist.
I mean, and as somebody who's, my parents, my father was from the Congo and my mother was from Guyana. And so they were the immigrants who came here on purpose and they got the rude awakening. My mother got the rude awakening, like, ooh, it's racist here. That's weird. For some reason.
It's racist. They got a rude awakening from Congo and Guyana.
Yeah.
Like the top 5 most violent countries in Africa. They got a rude awakening that America was very racist. And then your daughter becomes a millionaire talk show host who's on TV every day.
$3 million a year up until recently.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting how that works. She grew up in New York, too.
Words are mean, but in America, but at least you didn't get machete chopped by a rival militant group in Congo.
Exactly. All right, our next clip is an almost accident at a boat rental, I believe in Miami. Uh-oh, hope you can swim.
White guy in after him.
Yeah, try to help. Oh. How do you go in the water if you can't swim?
Crazy.
How do you even go on a boat if you can't swim? If you can't swim, you're on a boat. Life jacket.
You need a life jacket, and you should be worried. These guys are out on the floating mat thing that isn't exactly safe that you could slip off of.
What's the thought process there?
It flows.
Yeah, I just won't get off the float. It can hold me.
I ain't gonna fall off. And, I don't want to just bring race into it or whatever, but, like, the white guy saves them. The two black people couldn't swim. And, like, people give babies swim lessons.
Yeah, we had a friend at the wedding who told us their babies are, like, 6 months and they're doing swim lessons, like just how to float and get back to the surface. Like anti-drowning stuff.
And so you make it to this, you pay for the day out on the yacht, and you don't even put a life jacket on. That's what I don't understand, the putting yourself in a position without taking any precautions. Because you drown and everybody turns, everybody's distracted, a cool boat's going by, and you're just silently gasping for air.
And everyone's laughing, thinking it's a joke or
music
no
is
big
playing.
Deal. Yeah, that could have been a lot darker.
All right,
our last piece of cringe, we have some women preppers, some left-leaning women preppers who are now getting prepared for post-apocalypse Trump America.
They're preparing for something, and they weren't preparing until this administration, is what I would say. It's from a Reddit community. It said, it took me 8 months to get a gun license in a blue state. Start the process now. In my state, you need to take a gun safety class in order to get your license. But after getting that, you need to make an appointment with the police chief of your town. Appointments are usually scheduled 6 to 12 months in advance. So I'm just posting to encourage anyone in a blue state to start the process as soon as possible before it's too late.
So they're getting guns.
Yeah. Another one said, we got some blank red hats to blend in. We bought a pile of blank red hats that look like the awful ones they wear, but have no message on the front. Something worth considering. Got them off eBay. If stuff goes down, you can blend in a little better with that hat, but still not be shilling for dum-dum.
Dum-dum's how we talk.
I hate to have to bow that far, but I'd rather be alive if we get through this than dead over a hat.
And then this next one's my favorite.
If I end up on foot, what's the best cat carrier? I've got cat transportation planned and set up for situations where I can use my car, but I worry about having to abandon a car and go on foot. I'm thinking a back front packs or a crossbody bag would be the best. Does anyone have any recommendations? 1 cat, 9 pounds.
To carry your cat around, if the world ends and it's like an apocalypse situation, you let your cat go, and your cat is like the most likely to succeed. They just eat bugs and rats and mice, and they're fine. They thrive.
They're actually better suited for survival than you.
So put them in the box.
We generated an AI image of the woman prepper, and AI didn't do a good job. I should have said overweight, more leftist leaning, but there's with the red hat. What do these people think is happening? You're a red hat cat carrying apocalyptic. You have a gun you don't know how to work, and it took you 8 months to get. It's so funny. They post that gun thing on the website, and they go, it takes 8 months? It's like, imagine you had a stalker ex-boyfriend or a real issue, or a bunch of Muslims moved in from the Biden administration and stuffed your small town.
Your stupid gun laws take 8 months.
So
that's your Second Amendment.
I don't know, the swatting, the keying of Teslas, the now prepping for some weird scenario where you're on foot with your cat having to blend into a MAGA crowd because you watched that Civil War movie that Obama was a producer on or something.
It's all LARPing.
I don't know what's going on, but I just wanted to share. It's very cringe, and their reactions are telling.
Very. All right, let's move on to Urban Decay. All right, our first clip of Urban Decay is a pitbull attack, and I'm just going to tell you now, the guy in the blue shirt does nothing.
Okay. Whose dog is that? Hey.
We can't play the whole thrashing video there, but you see how flat-footed he was?
The guy in the blue shirt just stands there and watches like it's a TikTok.
Crazy.
And here's the thing, the point I'm going to make here. The woman who owned the white dog had a lot of time to pick that dog up when she saw the pit bull coming. And I'm saying this, she didn't want to assume the pit bull was dangerous because of stereotypes. So she didn't want to offend the pit bull.
Okay.
So-
I believe that a little bit. Like,
So there's a lesson there.
There's an off-leash pit bull slowly approaching you.
And you could,
You have a little yappy dog. Why don't you get the yappy dog up?
You could have just picked up your dog, and if the loose pit bull ended up being nice, congrats, you pet a stray dog who ended up being really sweet.
There you go.
You know? And at the end, we'll play it here in the background. As you can see, a normal man comes and the issue is resolved in 5 seconds once he gets there.
Yeah.
The normal guy comes with no shirt on. Yeah. And not to make this political, because it is Urban Decay, but this is why the bad guys want us weak and low testosterone. So all the pussy men team up together to vote against the strong guy because they're weak individually on their own, like the guy in the blue shirt.
What do you think was going through his head? You were in a dog fight recently.
Yeah, and I snapped into action and fought the dog.
This guy's flat-footed holding something, doesn't even get... The girl helps more than him.
What's going through his mind is, oh man, this is kind of crazy. It'll probably be over soon. I just hope this ends soon. Oh, hopefully this dog stops. The guy is probably addicted to pornography.
Okay.
And he shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yeah.
And people are wondering...
Hey, we saw you on that ring cam, that pitbull encounter. We unregistered you, and you have to go talk to someone if you want to appeal that.
Yeah, exactly. So what do
we actually discounted your last 4 elections. We purged you from the voter rolls. It's over,
You're
brother.
purged from the voter rolls like an illegal.
Yeah.
But what do you do in the situation? Obviously, number one, you shoot the dog. Number two, and some people say this works, some people say it doesn't, you put your thumb in the butt.
Yeah, and hopefully the dog hasn't had any poppers because it'll go crazy.
But yeah, and the thumb in the butt, if it works or it doesn't, you might as well try, especially if it's something you've been wanting to do anyway.
Yeah. That's good for a guy like you.
All right, next we have a St. Patrick's Day fight. There they go. There we go. There it is. They're fighting. Everyone's fighting.
Yep.
The fighting Irish.
Black Irish.
The Black Irish, exactly. And, this is kind of the only day where it's allowed because the Irish fight too.
White people are fighting on St. Patty's Day in Chicago too. So
sorry.
you guys get a pass, actually.
Yep.
Didn't expect that to be our Urban Decay commentary, but you guys do actually get a pass.
If there is a day for it to happen, St. Patrick's Day.
Enjoy.
All right, next we have some Houston Highway twerking. Car stops for no reason.
What the crap?
What's going on here in the middle of the highway? Oh, there they go.
Like a clown car, 5 overweight black women jump out and start twerking on an active highway.
On an active highway. And the woman driving behind him is listening to Christian music, probably on her way to do something nice.
Yeah, like picking up her grandson or something, and this is what she's met with.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for us as a society?
It means bad.
Yeah, too far apart from those two.
I would never do something like that. In high school, we used to do the Chinese fire drill where you get at a red light and everyone switches seats. But that was at a red light, and it just turned red. This is on an active highway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, all right, let's move on. Let's not get too bogged down by it.
I don't know. I just want to say, like, it's interesting because it's supposed to be like this sexual display, too. Like, it's supposed to be almost enticing or something, Like, that's what they do to get, like, attention or something like that. And I'm just repulsed. I'm very disgusted. I don't see it in that way at all. There's a hate that rolls through me.
I'm not attracted to that at all.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
I don't know.
All right, next there was a shooting that involved littering of chicken bones, something we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah, littering leftover chicken leads to a shooting at Rainier Valley Safeway. So this is outside Seattle. A Seattle Police Department investigation uncovered that a shooting occurred outside of a Rainier Valley Safeway Monday night, was spurred by a man throwing a chicken bone out of his car window. The man went to Rainier Valley Safeway for Cheap Chicken Monday.
Little advice.
Free advice.
You don't want to go to Cheap Chicken Monday ever.
Cheap Chicken Monday draws a specific crowd.
We'll leave it at that.
That's what you want to avoid.
He eventually launched a GoFundMe where he only raised $30.
We'll get to that. While eating in his car, the man threw a chicken bone out the window, hitting a car parked next to him. A woman exited that car, got hit with the chicken, that got hit with the chicken, and started yelling at him. The two argued, and at one point, according to the police report, she grabbed a pair of scissors and tried slashing the man's tires. The two eventually wrestled to the ground. A Safeway security guard got involved in the scuffle, separating them before the woman pulled out a gun and shot the man in the leg. The shooter's girlfriend exited the car and attacked the man as well before they both drove off.
So it was lesbians.
They were lesbians. And the suspect was not apprehended. The suspect is at large. And I said, I'm actually ready to talk to a police sketch artist for this woman, the offender.
Were you there, sir?
No, I wasn't, but I'm still ready to sit down with a sketch artist.
How would you describe the person?
5'7", overweight, black, African-American female.
Very loud.
Very loud. Just start drawing. Just start drawing.
drawing.
And yeah, here's the guy, Jesse's Medical Bill Relief Fund. And then Jesse, I didn't expect him to be a chicken bone thrower.
Well, but that's why we tell you not to go.
But yeah, $30 raised on a $12K goal. I thought about donating, but then I said, chicken bone thrower.
Exactly, because that we talked about too, people littering the chicken bones as if it just like dissolves into the dirt or something.
Biodegradable, and you're throwing it on concrete, and it's there for months.
All right, our next clip is a little kid getting interviewed, man on the street style.
Be like, bro. I just want to be just like my dad. What your daddy do, bro? He shoot niggers. Whoa. All right, cut that. So all right. So what you want to be like, bro? I want to be a pimp. Nigga, why the fuck you want to be a YN? Because I said so.
And then they start fighting. Very nice. And as we know, there's been studies done. When you don't have a dad in the household, the child is usually more impulsive and unable to control their impulsive tendencies.
Yeah.
And then if you do have a dad who I guess didn't have a dad, now you have an impulsive dad.
Ooh.
So no matter which way it goes, you're still kind of uphill climb against the impulsivity.
Even one dad missing in a chain, going back time immemorial.
Yeah.
Can have ripple effects throughout time.
Exactly. And there's a meme online that black kids should start in jail and then be released after years of good behavior.
Very racist meme.
Very
I
racist.
would never say that.
Very mean, would not say it. It's very rude, but it would work with this one.
These kids are bad.
These are, yeah.
And I don't know. There's some junior prison or something.
These kids would shoot you for nothing.
I think so. Long term. Yeah.
All right. Our last clip.
I always do this when we see these kids or we see these interviews or somebody makes the news for something. And when I know their name, I put on a Google alert to see when they eventually get arrested and go to jail for something.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew these kids' names because these are all going to hit the Google alert. I just don't happen to know them.
That's a good point. All right, our last clip of Urban Decay, people using EBT cards at Burlington Coat Factory.
Don't show the numbers.
If it works,
Tell.
put it on TikTok.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It
Hilarious.
The laughing there is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives away the game that they know this shouldn't work. I'm going to buy brand clothing and Jordans or whatever at Burlington Coat Factory. They know they're getting away with something. They know it shouldn't work, and they don't care and think it's funny, right?
Yep.
So, RFK, man, we appreciate the poppers.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was great work. No notes. But there's leg 2 to this parlay.
Major leg
And you
2.
got to take away their candy, soda, and their Burlington Coat Factory EBT cash, brother.
Exactly. All right. Don't get too down or too depressed. We're moving on to Uplifting Gold. Our first clip from Uplifting Gold is Demi Lovato before and after. So we have a little meme here. This is under Biden's America. This is what she was talking about.
Also, by shedding some of those gender norms that had been placed on me as a teenager or my whole life, actually. And I'm really excited to share that experience with other people, showing that we are so much more than 2 categories. And it's not even, it's so much more socially constructed than it even is medical.
And here's her now. Here's her now in the kitchen with long hair, looking way more feminine. Apparently, she got a masculine boyfriend.
Oh.
And she's cooking him pies and shit.
That's great.
Isn't that nice? That's how it works. Because when you're not tethered to a masculine man, you do whatever you think is best, and you're just floating with the wind, wacky inflatable arms tube man.
Yeah, you're in the breeze, blowing, thinking about gender shit, whatever you get sucked into, whatever article Salon puts out. You
Victim
go,
of your own emotions.
Oh my God, yeah. Why didn't I think of that, Salon? And then you go in interviews about it. This is a great change. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, then you get a boyfriend, and they just go, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Do you know how to cook anything? I'm hungry.
Apple pie now. That's great. There's like a natural blend there where the girl likes making an apple pie, right?
Yeah, she does. But she just didn't have a strong enough man in her life to feel secure enough to do just that.
Okay.
So that's good. That's uplifting. Another uplifting story, Bill Belichick.
Hold on. Do you think she'll be back?
Depends.
Type of person like that also goes like this, and they're bouncing around forever. So it's uplifting gold for now.
If the boyfriend breaks up with her in like a brutal way or like cheats on her or something, she's going to buzz her head and get tattoos on her face.
Yeah, fat, short, pink hair again.
Yeah. All right, more good news. Bill Belichick found love. He's like 77 years old.
Yeah.
And he's got a 24 or 25-year-old girlfriend, and here's them doing stuff I guess Bill used to do as a kid.
Yeah, Jupiter, Florida, hanging out with his the person who could be his granddaughter. I don't know. All right.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
Good for him.
What do you think they talk about?
I don't know. Not much.
Sex?
Probably mostly that.
When are we going to do that?
We're going to do that sex again.
Hey, babe, that was great last night. How about again tomorrow?
All right, next we have raccoons on a secret mission. This is pretty cool. The 2 guys are just making their way across. That's cool, right? That's uplifting.
Oh, yeah. I actually have deeper points for this.
All right.
Raccoons really thrived as a codependent like species or whatever. Off of humans, coasting off humans. They have the little hands. They can climb and grab stuff. All they need to survive is trash. They wait until night when there are no humans doing anything, and they have free reign.
That's a good point.
They're probably the biggest winners of all of this humanity, right?
That's so true. I didn't think about that.
Their little hands, they can climb. So, yeah, good for them,
I wish they were more dog-like. That would be a final great piece of the trifecta.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Next uplifting story. This guy has a barbershop where he makes the kids read while getting their hair cut.
Remember, you can call them F2187 and make it easier.
All right, that's nice. That's uplifting.
What, does he give him a discount or something for that?
Probably. Some sort of child discount if you read the whole time.
Good.
Next is a kid who shoots a duck that has a tag on it, which we'll explain after.
Let's go! Oh my gosh, man! I just killed a freaking man!
Let me see it. It's lifted.
Now you have to call again. Oh my gosh! I just killed a man.
So it's a banded duck. I don't really like the crying that much.
Okay, but they're rare, right? All the hunters go for that.
Yeah, it's 1 in 1,000, and they banned some ducks to track their migration. So if you get one, it's rare, and then you call it in, and you tell them where the duck was, and then they can like see where the duck went. I don't know. They like to pay attention where the duck goes.
All right. Okay. That's uplifting.
Yeah.
You do this thing where you trail off and then you don't care, and the duck does something.
Well,
he liked it.
I liked it.
And he's doing something fun, and he's not on his phone, and he knows how to read. That kid knows how to read.
Yeah, that kid knows how to read.
All right.
Cries a little too easily, but it's no big deal.
Okay.
All right, that was our last clip of Uplifting Gold. We do have a shout out from Nathaniel. He said, can you read the tweet?
Fleccas got a new show watcher, boys. Healthy baby boy warrior who already loves the best news podcast of all time.
Very cool, Nathaniel. Congratulations. We love you. Thank you for watching. Congrats on the baby. Need multiple devices now.
Where's that hospital?
Looks nice.
They got some little montañas in the background. Looks like Wyoming type, maybe.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Brand new healthy boy. Love to see it. The show is expanding. Eventually, with the show watchers have kids who have kids, the show should get to infinity watchers.
This could go exponential. Yeah. I'm starting to believe.
All right. Another Fleccas Talks in the books. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. FleccasTalks.com for Bonus Land, 30-minute Bonus Land dropping right now. We're going to talk about our trip to Mexico, plus a few other things, great clips, great stories. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you guys there, and if we don't see you there, we're disappointed, but we'll see you on Friday.
They are obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre